I loathe you.
I loathe you.
I loathed you first.
What I don't loathe is doing this podcast with you, Dara. I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to talk about... God. I think probably... I don't know if this is one of your favorite childhood movies, but it was certainly one of mine.
Yes.
The Princess Diaries 2.
Emily, I wish we could be doing an enemies to lovers trope, but I just love you too much to be your enemy.
Oh, stop it. You're gonna make me blush.
It's a podcast co-hosts to lovers trope. How I bet there's a modern romance novel about that, or at least we're one of them. As somebody, I don't read a lot of romance, but I had to shelf a lot at the library.
Oh, yeah.
And it was always like, she's a grade school teacher and he's a veterinarian and they just don't see eye to eye. And I'm like, they always just have these like really specific jobs, or like, you know, like she's a data analyst and he's a art gallery manager. Like, I don't know. They always like
data analyst. Oh my god.
There has to be one. There has to be one about like, she's a podcaster, but he's a newspaper columnist and they just don't see eye to eye. I bet that exists.
It sounds like you should just write this at this point. You've already got it, like, sketched out.
I know, right? I should do that thing where I write a fan fiction, but then at the very last minute, I just change all the names, and then I get it published and then turned into a major motion picture, and then I can retire, and we can do podcasting full time.
Exactly. It better be 90 minutes.
There's this new movie, we're really getting off track now, but there's this new movie out. It's like a BJ Novak movie, and I saw the trailer for it when I was going to see Nope, and I had not heard of this movie until then. But it's this
my sister saw it. Yeah.
What is she? It's like about it's like a movie about like a true crime podcast, but like from what I saw from the trailer, the incorporation of like the subject of podcasting in a movie just seemed really like redundant and self-referential to me. I don't know. Did Alyssa have any feedback? Did she like it?
She liked it. She's a big BJ Novak fan, so.
And she's also like a Mindy Project fan. Does she think he's the father?
I was gonna ask you the same thing. I think so.
Yeah, come on.
I think
come
yes.
on.
Yeah. He's the father.
Come on.
But anyways, back to enemies to lovers, because as much as I forget what episode it was recently that I said I don't really care for the enemies to lovers trope.
It was probably
I do for this.
It was probably the proposal, because that we most recently covered, and that was an enemies to lovers where they just did not have chemistry, in my opinion.
It was so bad.
Like that movie is only worth its like gag joke moments. It is not a good rom-com in the way that they have chemistry. Miss Annie Hathaway, and little 20-year-old Chris Pine invented on-screen chemistry with this movie.
Easily.
This works. So it's not even that, like, brilliantly written of a movie. I mean, nor is the first one, but they just, like, it just works. It just, the charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent of Miss Annie Hathaway on my TV screen. And, of course, obviously, it doesn't hurt that Dame Julie Andrews is there as well. But
is she a dame?
Yeah. Dame Julie Andrews, of course.
God, I fucking love her. You know how people feel about, like, Steve Irwin's Stingray? They're like, fuck stingrays, I hate stingrays.
Her vocal surgery?
That's exactly how I feel about the doctor that performed her fucking vocal surgery.
Oh my god.
But she does sing in this movie, which I totally forgot.
It was her first on-screen singing since the surgery. And everyone said that she did it in one take, and that everyone cried afterwards, and that they had to, like, take a 5 as a cast, because everyone just started sobbing after Julie Andrews sung a duet with Miss Raven-Symoné.
Jump scare.
Okay,
jump scare.
We'll get into it, but we're covering the Princess Diaries 2 Royal Engagement. If you don't read the titles, if you just podcast roulette it, I guess, then welcome. This is The Swamp. It's our podcast, and it's an acronym.
It stands for some whack-ass movie podcasting.
And we are embarking on a magical journey this month. It's motherfucking sequel September. And we're only covering... So a couple of you have written in for sequels that you suggested, and they've all been so good, but we're specifically doing sequels to movies we've covered the first one of. So, like, as much as I want to dive right in and do Spy Kids 2, like, I hear you, but we're doing only, it would be funny to only do sequels of movies we haven't covered, like jump right into the second Sam Raimi Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like, I would, but
Yeah, just raw dog it.
but hopefully this will be incentive if you're new here to go back and listen to some of our older episodes. Honestly, gun to my head, I probably couldn't tell you right now what I said about the first Princess Diaries movie, other than that I liked it. When I was writing down my food and drink suggestions, I'm like, oh, this might just be the same as what I said last time. But, so yeah, go back and listen to our old Princess Diaries episode. It's from about a year ago, I think.
Yeah, something, just about, yeah.
But, so yeah, we're doing all sequels to stuff we've covered. If that gives you any indication to what's coming up this month, we're pretty fucking excited. But we want to just start off, because this was a really great transition, because last week we covered Brokeback Mountain, and there was a little fun fact nugget in there that Anne Hathaway auditioned for Brokeback Mountain in her Princess Diaries 2, like, get up, because she was on her lunch break. And that we were like, oh, well, that's seamless. We'll just do that one next week.
Of course.
And I'm so glad we did. I haven't watched this movie in like a really long time. Probably like many years of my life, and it's just a joy.
Like, Princess Diaries itself is something that, like, is sometimes on TV, and if it is, I will stop and I will watch it. But this is not, like, at all. And, yeah, like you said, I haven't watched it in probably 10 plus years. There was a lot that I didn't remember, but I'll tell you what I do remember is that, was it the mattress surfing? Holy shit. I wanted to be that person as a kid so bad.
I wrote down, tag yourself. I'm Julie Andrews' mattress surfing body double. And then when perusing IMDb fun facts, there was no body double.
Shut up.
Bitch did it herself.
The fuck up. No, she did not. You're lying.
Yes, she did. I mean, IMDb fun fact says that Julie Andrews did her own mattress surfing stunt, because I guess they set it up pretty safely, because everyone was just doing it.
I'm sure she was on, like, wires and everything.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
I would assume.
We can't have a broken hip.
Yeah, they're not gonna do her like that, but like, that's so strange, because the way that it was shot,
it could have, that's what, I was like, oh, that's a body double, and then...
Yeah, because it's just like fully the back of her.
Yeah.
Like, you don't see anything, so I assumed it was a body double. Why wouldn't you show me, like, front facing?
She looked snatched.
Julie Andrews is snatched. What are you talking about?
Maybe she was like... But just... It's so true. That scene, though, where the sleepover scene, where she is wearing that, like, little hooded, little pajama with the little hood.
Oh,
why did I think that, like, all old ladies dress like a fairy godmother, just, like, at all times?
Dude, I'm claiming her as my grandma after watching this movie. Like, I fucking adore her so much.
But yeah, you said this was one of your favorites from childhood. Definitely one of my favorites. While watching this, I DM'd on Twitter an old childhood friend who I have not spoken to in like many years, and I was like, I just want you to know that I'm watching Princess Diaries 2, and I'm thinking of you, and I hope you're doing well, because it was just like, it was such a sleepover staple, and there are certain moments that I so distinctly remember, and then some that I'm like, I if you told me Raven-Symoné was in this movie at the beginning, I would have been like, since when?
Yeah, she was really like cashing in on her success from That's So Raven, and I don't know when the Cheetah Girls came out, but I'm assuming it was around this time or before this, because
I think before.
Yeah, she do be singing. She fully sings with Julie Andrews. Could you imagine?
Like, what lottery did she win? What dirt does she have on, what's the name of the guy who, Gary...
For some reason I was
the guy who directed this movie, who passed away.
Yeah.
Whose sister directed A League of Their Own. I don't know his last name, but, I do in my heart somewhere. But there was supposed to be a third one of this movie, and in 2016... they, like, announced it, and then he died. And so then the project got, like,
so that's what's happened.
So there was supposed to be a third one, yeah, like, in the works, and then he passed away, so they just kind of have tabled it. But I would love to see, what's a sequel, a threequel, a trilogy.
Trilogy? Yeah, oh my god. That would be fucking everything. I mean, like, I think we'll see it someday. I would hope. need that personally. So, for me, guys,
I need it
come on.
for Julie Andrews, you know. May she live long, but while she's still in acting condition. Except
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen her in anything in a while, but we gotta get this. We gotta get this show on the move.
Ugh, I love that woman. So do we want to give? If you haven't seen this movie, I would highly, highly recommend you going and checking out. Because it's just a classic. I mean, you do have to watch the first Princess Diaries as well if you haven't seen that. If you haven't seen this one, like, fine enough. But if you haven't seen the first one, you're not welcome to listen to this podcast. I'm just kidding.
That's harsh. That's harsh. So what some of our listeners
I'm gonna start bullying listeners into listening or watching different movies.
I know, if you were born in, 2009, first of all, that freaks me out, and second of all, get cultured and go watch the shit from our childhoods. That's important to us.
Yeah.
But I feel like more Princess Diaries 1 was one that I was maybe a little too young to, super duper, remember when it came out, but the second one, I remember it, coming out and, it being a thing and loving it and having seen the first one a lot, but
yeah,
I think the second one more distinctly stands out of oh, this is a piece of media that I am engaging with because I like the old one,
Mm-hmm. No, I hear you.
But as a little recap, if you haven't been tuning into the Princess Diaries cinematic universe, Princess Mia Thermopolis she was just a normal girl, and then she got launched into princesshooddom by her queen grandmother, aka Dame Julie Andrews. What's her name in this? Clarice.
Clarice Rinaldi, something.
And Her Highness.
Yeah, Her Royal Highness. Use her titles. Thank you.
And basically the first movie is just about her trying to navigate being just a quirky, awkward teenage girl, but also, oh my god, I'm the princess for a country called Genovia that we're just coding as, Italy.
Well, that's the tough thing. We'll get into that.
But so this is the second movie, and thank God they blast into the future. She has graduated college, so that realistically she's playing a 21-year-old, and Miss Annie Hathaway was 22 when they filmed this. So I do appreciate the aging her up and not and it is all about her getting married, so obviously they wouldn't have done this and said that she was 16, but I appreciate the time jump because we just don't need to be pretending that she's fresh out of high school or something,
Yeah, be real about it.
But so she's 21 now, we've jumped a bit ahead in time, and she's going to be the queen, and basically over a year, she's going to, shadow the queen, and the queen's going to, slowly step down, and she's going to, become a queen. But then somebody brings up this clause that she has to get married, and they're that's really sexist and outdated, we don't need to do that. But then this one guy is actually, that is super legit, and it needs to happen. They're okay, well, you have 30 days to get married, or else you're not the queen. And then basically, he's plotting and scheming behind the scenes to get his nephew, who, has some royal bloodline ties. He wants him to be the king, so he's oh, if she, fucks up and can't get married in 30 days, then my nephew gets to be the king. Nephew, Chris Pine, who becomes a double agent trying to sabotage this marriage, but along the way falls for Miss Mia, and Miss Mia falls back, but then she realizes that he's kind of playing her, but he wasn't really playing her, it was the uncle. And so then at the wedding, she stops the wedding, and she says, this is an outdated sexist rule, and I propose a motion to overturn it. And then the old crusty guy who in the beginning was saying that she had to do it, he's I support you. And everyone stands up and is yeah, you don't have to get married. And then she's okay. And then instead, the queen gets married to her bodyguard Joe, who we've all been shipping since movie 1. And they just take over the wedding. They do the wedding, and then Princess, now Queen Mia, it's Chris Pine, we can date. We don't have to get married after knowing each other for 2 weeks. We can just date now. And then she gets coronated and she's the queen. And it's a nice little enemies to lovers trope romp of a film. It's very Disney live action, hits all the beats. A Kelly Clarkson song plays while she walks orphans through the street. It's inspirational.
Sorry, orphan Abigail Breslin?
Abigail, okay, so you said that Raven Simone was your jump scare. first it was Spencer Breslin for me playing the like 12-year-old
Oh,
prince.
yeah.
And then, where there's Spencer, there's Miss Abigail. And she was a baby in this. She was like...
Well, that's... I had to, like,
pre-verbal. Yeah.
Pre-verbal. Yeah. Yeah, I was sitting there and I didn't clock it at first. I thought maybe, but one of my roommates was like, that's Abigail Breslin. I was like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Like, I fully had to IMDb it. Because of course it is.
I knew right away because I clocked Spencer Breslin at the beginning that I'm like, oh, she was, in the wings regardless. So they just popped her in there. Like, minor speaking role? A minor beginning speaking role for Miss Abigail Breslin? Do you think this was one of her first?
I was gonna say, I wonder if this is her first credit. Do you think that she was, like, one of those acting babies? Like, she was, like, premature and, like, her parents, like, rented her out, like, a car?
Oh, for sure. But not only was this the debut, perhaps, of Miss Abigail Breslin, but this was the debut of Chris Pine. This is Chris Pine's first... Yeah, this is his first, like, major motion picture. This is his first, like, movie.
Huh. Good for him. This is a good one.
Yeah, as a leading man, nonetheless. And I think that this goes to show that if you just cherry pick two hot A-list actors and just assume that they can have chemistry and do a rom-com together, that's not... Two hot people aren't just going to have chemistry. So cast somebody a little less well-known who's really vibing with Miss Anne Hathaway, because then you're going to get the magic. You're going to get the sauce.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, no, you're so right. Can we talk about Genovia as a country for a minute?
You mean Italy?
Okay. So where do you think it's located, specifically?
Southern Europe, wedged between Italy and France. And they said it's little. They think it's really small. Yeah. I think it's really little. So it's like a tiny nugget of a country. It's kind of like a Luxembourg to me. Like, it's like hardly there in surface area. Yeah.
Did you just know that, or like was that
true?
Your guess?
Is that
That's
true?
That's like entirely correct. Yes.
Oh, they made up a location for their fake country.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes, they did. I thought it would be like kind of because it gave me like Germany vibes too. So I thought it would be like there's like I'm looking at a map right now. I'll have you know. Right above Italy, wedged between Switzerland and Austria, and then like below Germany. But it so really... What?
For me, it was that their export is pears. And I'm no geographical wizard, but I think the pears indicate... And there were so many people literally speaking Spanish.
Yeah, Spanish. Well, I was confused because I really wish that they... like how Game of Thrones does it, will make up a whole fake language. I really wished that for the Princess Diaries, they made up some Genovian language.
And I want the lore to go so deep that you can take it as a liberal arts college credited course, that you can learn Genovian, like the way you can learn, like, Klingon or Elvish or whatever. I want a fully developed fictional language for Genovianese that is so legit that I can learn it on Duolingo.
I mean, I'm on the Princess Diaries wiki fandom right now.
They were just saying words in, like, Italian and Spanish. They were just saying, like, Italian phrases. And Princess Mia seems to not be bilingual. She seems to be a unilingual... I mean, she says, like, conversational phrases in, like, I think German at one point and a couple other things to, like, show that she's diplomatic. But I'm like, bitch, you're gonna be the queen of a country that clearly is, like, a very multilingual country, and you're not gonna... You're not gonna be fluent by the time you're 21.
Come on now. There's actually some, like, stats on the country, the fake country. So it's located between France and Italy with a mile-long Mediterranean coastline and the Alps at the other border of the country. Has many hills, olives, agriculture. It is roughly 2 miles long and 4 miles wide. This country is fucking tiny.
So it's just their palace grounds. So what I'm hearing is that it's just this downtown area that looks like Germany at Epcot. Fully,
Yeah.
I'm convinced they must have filmed this at fucking Epcot. That parade scene, like the cobblestone streets and the houses that all look fucking fake. I'm like, dude, that's Epcot. But so it's that downtown area and then literally just their entire palace estate, and that's the whole fucking country. Everyone's talking about she's not qualified to run the country. Dude, it's just your yard.
This is so funny. Oh my god, if anyone ever, like, wants a good giggle, go look at the Princess Diaries wiki fandom. It was apparently given, given from Italy in 568. Or something like that. The population is 50,000. They do use the euro, and their religion is Roman Catholic. They are a Roman Catholic country.
Are they a member? Are they a member of the EU? Doubt it.
I don't know. I'm gonna guess so. It's so funny. The one thing that's really getting me right now is under the architecture section. It says, unfortunately, due to tourism, the infrastructure of Genovia has begun to suffer. Like, oh my god. I love this so much.
If we had the investigative journalist powers that be in running this podcast, we don't make any money from this, but I would have dished out a guest fee to get whoever updates the wiki for this to be a guest. If this reaches you, please connect. I'd love to chat. I'd love to give you like a Starbucks gift card to come be on our podcast.
Oh my god. This is absolutely insane.
Yeah, so
apparently, hold on. It says, where is it? In 2015, Genovia experienced an uptick. Where is it? Hold on. An uptick in illegal immigration.
That's what I was gonna say. I want the third Princess Diaries movie about, like, now Queen Mia. She's really coming to her own. Chris Pine, she has to deal with something serious. Like, she has to do a drone strike. She has to hit the button, and she has to face the political repercussions of, like, what that's like. She has to do some real Obama shit. She's got to get in there and Princess Mia.
I don't know, because apparently Genovia has the lowest violence rate in the world, I'm reading, so... and some of the lowest infant mortality rates, so...
Okay, but they had, for a population of 50,000, they seem to have a fuck ton of orphans, so explain to me that.
They do have a lot of orphans.
She wanted to convert an entire palace into an orphanage. Mia, are there really that many orphans within your 50,000 person population that an entire palace... I mean, hey, I know it was a good thought, it was a good idea, but, like, is there really that much of an orphan crisis? Yeah, I guess if there's a refugee crisis, I mean... Who's to say?
Oh my god.
Who's to say about Miss Genovia?
Someone please. I need someone else to go look at this. If you have, like, a spare, like, 20 minutes. This is the best thing I've seen in a minute. They have a whole thing about, they have a National Guard, but no Army or Navy. I fuck with that.
Interesting. Yeah, so what's gonna happen? I want to see Princess Mia dealing with the repercussions of, like, impending war. How would she... Is she, like, an actual... Because she sets forth a motion, which then passes through Parliament at her own wedding. So she clearly does have some political power. I want to know, like, compared to, like, the Queen of England, who, like, is for the most part just, like, a figurehead, you know?
Yeah.
What is her real power? Like, can she actually, like, enact serious political change? Because she seemed to be like, I'm turning this castle into an orphanage. And everyone was like, are you really? And she's like, yeah, because I said so. And then they all just had to go along with it. So she seems to have, like, almost authoritarian-like power.
Yeah.
Even though they have a parliament. They have a parliament. So I wonder, you know, what the structure is here. Like,
no,
how heavy is her vote?
Yeah, no, that is a good question. Listen, I'll get back to you. I'm gonna read up on this a lot more.
Oh if anyone wants to pay me to teach a community college level course on the history, structure, language, and political history of Genovia, I'm right here. I think the girlies would love it.
Please, please. Earlier you were talking about how just putting two hot people back to like our actual conversation.
Yeah.
How putting two like hot actors in a room doesn't like mean anything like chemistry wise. I fucking love Anne and Julie's chemistry in these movies. I think they bounce off each other so well.
Yeah, and I think at times her being like the clumsy girl gets a little forced for me because she's Anne Hathaway, and in the first movie they try to play it off like she's dorky and like ugly because she wears glasses and has frizzy hair, which is like already kind of problematic, and then they straighten her hair and make her have good posture and suddenly she's hot. Like, no, she was hot the whole fucking time. And I think with this, then they lean more into like, well, now she's hot and everyone knows she's hot, so like what's her like flaw that we can lean into? And it's that she's American and that she is clumsy, and so that she like doesn't know like royal, you know, decorum, and that she like trips a lot, and those are her things. And sometimes
trips a lot.
And sometimes I'm like, you know, I get it if you want to make her, like, the clumsy girl. I think it's a little played out, even at this time. Like, it's a little played out. But I think her, like, being quirky and silly at moments is where that, like, good dynamic comes in between the two of them. Because Julie Andrews' character, you see her kind of crack. Like, she's very poised all the time, but Mia will do something that she finds endearing and funny. And she's like, I have to discipline you, but just know that, like... I also think that that's kind of funny, you know, when she's doing like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember that from the trailer of this movie, and thinking that was the funniest fucking shit, like...
Oh, of course. There's a lot that I remember, like, from the trailers and everything like that. There's a lot of iconic bits.
I also remember from the trailer, when Julie Andrews says, shut up, and then she goes...
Yeah.
Shut up! Grandma said shut up! And that's in the trailer, and it's not in the movie. I was literally like, because when that happened, I'm like, where's the line?
I don't remember that at all.
Where she's like, shut up! Grandma said shut up! I don't know, I just really remember that, and I was like, what? And then I looked it up, and it was in the trailer, but not the movie. I bet the trailer probably ran a ton on Disney Channel, and I was definitely at, like, a Disney Channel kid.
Definitely. Oh my god, I just keep thinking more about all the jump scares in this movie. Stan Lee, did you clock that?
Yeah, so fucking weird. And he, like, makes a weird pass at Julie Andrews. It's because this movie is part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Princess Mia Thermopolis will be the one to destroy Thanos.
Oh my god. Like, in what fucking world, dude? In what world?
I bet he was just, like, filming next door, like, on the Disney properties, and they were like, yeah, you want to come over? Like...
Yeah, come hang out. Yeah, no. This movie, I love that there's one, the scene that stands out for me a lot is when they're, all, like, they're, like, looking through all the princes' profiles and everything like that. I love that scene. Was it when Prince William pops up? I always thought that was so funny.
Oh my god.
As a kid. But I love there's one of them like pops up or whatever and they're like, oh, he's handsome. And then Joe's like, oh, his boyfriend thinks so. Yeah. Too. But, like, they were sitting there, and, like, it's, like, Lily and Mia, and they're right on. Yeah. I was like, hell yeah.
Right? I feel like that was...
Gay rights. I feel like Genovia probably legalized gay marriage first.
Who was the first country to do it? Sweden? Was Sweden the first
Something
country?
Like that.
So it was Genovia. It just wasn't on the books.
It was Genovia. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that was my first introduction as a child to, like, Hot or Not, or, like swiping right on Tinder. Like, because I remember that scene specifically and being like, wow, you just get to sit in the chair and just say yes or no to people? That sounds like a time. Like...
Hell yeah. Sign me up, dude. I wanted to ask, because I fully forgot that it's, like, she goes to college and then goes to, be queen. I thought it was right out of high school. Obviously, my memory does not serve me. But do you, as two people who have just basically graduated college, do you feel that at this age, we're older than Princess Mia. We are 23 years old. Do you feel like you could run a small country? It's only 50,000 people.
I was gonna say, me personally, at this
You would have
time,
Julie Andrews at your side.
I was gonna say, if I get to step into Mia's shoes, and it's a 50,000 person country that has never gone to war, that their biggest problem is like pear exports, and I have Julie Andrews there, hell fucking yeah, I think I could. It doesn't seem hard. People are, like, waiting on her hand and foot. Literally, all she has to do is not trip. She just, like, not fall up the stairs for people to think she's competent.
Yeah.
Not to say that I couldn't do that. I would also probably fuck it up somehow. But I think I would not do good at that. I'm not an ass kisser.
Yeah.
And I am bad at it. And even when it, like, behooves me to do so, I, like, adamantly, like, can't do it. And I think that's the part of royalty that I really would struggle with. Is, like, the, like, I'm going to pretend to respect you because of titles. Like, that, I think I would have to pretend. I'm like, I'm doing a bit right now. Like, you know.
Whatever gets you there. Whatever works.
Right? Like, okay, step into my improv. Yes, and... that. But I think you could do it too. You're more competent than me for sure.
Yeah.
Especially if we could tag out, like if we could do like the Parent Trap, and we could swap out like at week shifts or something. I think we could.
I think you're right. What do you think Genovia's stance was during World War II? Do you think they were actively involved, or do you think they were like Switzerland?
If they've never had a military, I don't see what help they even would have been if they picked a side, you know? They would have just been like, you've got our written support, I guess. If they're not part of the EU either, I mean, I guess that comes later, but yeah, I'd like to think that they're just really focused on pear exports and, like, planning elaborate parades and like, upkeep. I guess I'm saying, like, judging them for upkeeping really old traditions in the 21st century of, like, guardsmen standing outside with, like, big staffs and stuff. But, like, England also literally still does that. Like, they have people at Buckingham Palace who, like, wear big silly hats and shit. And I don't know about, like, people who live there are some, you know, European listeners that we have, and feel free to drop by and tell me how you feel about the royals, because I only, like, as an American perspective, just feel like it's very, like, tabloid. Like, all I see about the royals is just, like, what's on the cover of Us Weekly, so I don't really have a good sense about it. And, like, but I feel like some people fucking love the royals, and some people are like, they're scum. Do. So,
yeah.
All I know is Princess Di. That's about where my, opinion and knowledge ends.
That's the only royal I'll ever support. Love that.
But
woman.
if you're from England, drop in and tell me what you think of the royals, because I'm genuinely curious. I have really no opinions on them.
Yeah.
Other than Meghan Markle's podcast just surpassed the Joe Rogan Experience on, like, I don't know if it was Spotify or Apple Podcasts or something, but she just surpassed him, and it was like a big deal. Yeah, and it's like,
yeah,
I don't
that's
feel
so cool.
I don't, like, know anything really about Meghan Markle or, like, what, you know, her deal is. She seems fine, but just, like, anything to put Joe Rogan down, I'm here for.
I love it. I love it so much.
But
I remember what?
Nothing. I was just waiting for what you were going to say next.
I did fucking love her closet, in this. That is one thing I would also love, being royal, is the fucking, like, crown jewels and everything like that. Like, I loved, as a kid, seeing all the fucking jewelry slide out in her closet, and it was, and, like, with the remote control, I thought it was the coolest fucking thing I'd ever seen. However, I could not memorize any of those, like, number combinations to open shit up. Julie Andrews is like, press button or combination 563, and then, like, all the royal jewels start popping out. Do you know how frustrated I would get trying to dress myself in the morning? It's whatever comes out. Like, if I can just get myself into some underwear, or if I can't even get to my underwear, I'm just going commando that day. Commando, like, and just, like, a ginormous necklace.
A $1 trillion necklace.
$1 necklace. I'm just naked walking through the fucking palace.
Iconic. Could be iconic. Honestly, I feel like she should be able to set those codes herself, you know, and make it, like, something, you know. But
like 1, 2, 3.
I really, for some reason, something something in my brain when she was like, oh, she's like showing her, like, this is the dress vault, this is the shoe vault, whatever, and she's like, oh, you're gonna love this. And she opens it and it's jewelry, but in my head I'm like, those are gonna be guns. Like, when she was like, oh, do code, this is that, and it goes, I'm like, there are gonna be AK-47s in there. And then I was like, why did I think that? Like, why did I think that that was gonna be what that was? Like, of course it's jewelry. Oh, Marshall. Gary Marshall is the name of the man who directed this. It just came to me. Gary Marshall, he also iconically directed Pretty Woman, as we've discussed. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And there was an incident in Pretty Woman where the really iconic jewelry that she wears in that was real and then got stolen by a cast, like a crew member. Mm-hmm. And then you think he would learn his lesson. He used all real loaned out jewelry again for this movie. Like the necklace that she wears... that Julie Andrews wears, like, during her wedding scene is, like, real. Also, like a real, like, multi-million-dollar piece of... And I'm like, did you not learn? I mean, they retrieved the necklace. Like, on Pretty Women, they got it back, and it was, like, a whole thing. But I'm like, did you not learn that you can just use, like, cubic zirconium? Like, nobody's gonna know the difference. But this man, he had a flair for just those loaned out... I guess.
I bet he was playing with them. I bet he just wanted to wear them. Just put them on every now and then.
He also was only in his underwear and a big necklace. When the set cleared for the night, he's like, I just need to have this. Just for me.
Oh my god. Yeah, I adore that. There's also, like, one really good quote that, like, I don't know, it definitely feels like this is a movie that, like, I can continue watching, like, as I get farther into adulthood still and everything like that. Because, like, there was a line that had me, like, cackling. Because obviously I didn't understand it when I was little. But they were talking about how, like, oh, like, Mia, your room is finally ready. Like, blah, blah, blah. There was, like, a plumbing issue or whatever. And the line was, nepotism belongs in the arts, not in plumbing. I was like, that's fucking genius.
That's is so genius. Funny.
Also, you could have told me Julie Andrews just fucking riffed that, and I would totally believe it.
Which she may as well have, because Gary Marshall is nepotism king. He cast, like, all of his friends and former actors in every role in this movie. So that's, like, kind of ironic. But yeah, so funny. What to me, so this was definitely a staple and a favorite in my childhood. Definitely like a sleepover movie for sure. Like, you know, when you are the age where you can stay up till like almost midnight or so. So if you start this like the sleepover energy at like, you know, 6 or 7, you could watch like a good 2 or 3 movies. Yeah. If you're like, oh, like we're we're gonna switch who gets to pick or something, right? Yeah. And this was definitely like one that was circled into the sleepover movie rotation for me, for sure. But what I remember loving about this movie as a very young kid is the exact same thing that I really love about it now. And, like, the things that make me laugh at 23 are the same things that made me laugh at, like, 8. And it's just that it's the guardsman who just yells everything. And then I always liked Lily as a friend, I think because I was related to, like, the quirky, annoying friend character, because that was just, like, more my style. I recognize that she's not a good friend. Like, in the first movie, she's like, your dad died 2 weeks ago, and you're still upset about it? Get over it. And I'm like,
I don't get
Jesus. Like, she's questionable. And in this movie, she does nothing other than just, like, be a reference to the first movie, basically. Like, she really doesn't need to be there other than, like, I'm Mia's best friend. Remember the first movie? Like, she doesn't really need to be there. But her little quips with the guard, and the guard who's yelling, and then she yells back at him, I don't really find her to be funny. But him, like, he yells in, like, almost, like, just a weird cadence. He's like, the royal carriages are coming! And it was just... And it just cracks me the fuck up. And as a kid, I specifically remember Lily is talking to this guy, and she goes, riding in the Stang, because she's getting in the Mustang. And as a kid, I just remember being at a sleepover with this friend, and back and forth, we just were like, riding in the Stang. We're riding in the Stang. Why did that stick with me out of this whole movie? Out of this whole movie of, like, lines to pull from, why is, like, what does that say about me as a person and as a child? Emily, did we lose connection? for the people watching on YouTube, I don't think I'm going to be able to, like, go in and cut this. So, you'll have to deal with the awkward pauses. But if you'd like to listen to a more succinct and well-edited version where I take out our ums and our mouth sounds, you can go. The link will be in the description. I don't know what Emily's up to, but you and I can have a moment right now. But yeah, link in the description to all of our locations. If you're here for the first time, that's fucking wild.
Hello.
Back?
Yeah, sorry, I don't know what the hell happened.
It's
there.
probably my internet's not great. So.
Mine is also not, so. But, where the fuck was I? Oh my god, come on. It's always tough because I never know if it's going to be better or worse if I'm on Wi-Fi or not.
The struggles.
Okay. Hello. Fuck.
I live in a triple-decker, and everyone in my building shares the same Wi-Fi. It's kind of fucked up.
That's so fucked up. Alright. We're back. I didn't stop recording. I don't know about you.
Oh, I didn't either. I had a nice moment with the viewers, so, I gave them
gorgeous.
a little, not even a nice one. I just told them to go listen to our show somewhere else.
Hell yeah. Oh my god. Speaking of, we've talked a lot about jump scares this movie, but the one person that I really wish was still here was Sandra Oh.
Oh! You mean
I missed her desperately.
Vice Principal Gupta? Love
Gupta.
Love her.
Like, what a fucking saint. I will say, though, one of the only critiques of this movie I have, and it's not shocking at all, I don't think there was one single person of color in this movie, maybe besides Raven Simone.
Okay, I'm going to take your criticism a step further and say that there were some openly racist and questionable moments in this film, because there were people of color. Yeah, there were people of color, and they were singled out in the most uncomfortable and, like, racially pointed way. So not only in the first scene is Raven Simone, like, the only black person in the whole room wearing like a tribal getup,
headdress,
and everyone else is just, like, in, like, royal, like, normal, like, European royal attire. Like, make it make sense, you know?
Yeah,
like put it into context, and, like, that was just openly a little bit weird to me. But it was specifically later in the film where they're at, like a brunch, almost, like a tea time brunch. They're all outside, and then there's a woman singing opera, and then after she sings opera, they pan over, and they're like, this is a gift from our friends from Asia. And then they pan over to just a group of Asian people who haven't been relevant in the film yet. And then they pan back over, and it's a white man who starts to sing a pop song in Mandarin. Yep. Did you catch that moment?
I did.
And they were all in, like, traditional Korean outfits. So they panned all these people in traditional Korean outfits, and then they pan back to a white man singing in Mandarin. Like, first of all, none of those puzzle pieces even fit together. And second of all, why did you feel the need to add that to your film? Because it's just like, let's point out how white this movie is by including not white people and making a spectacle of it, you know? It was just like, it just did not, like, every time it happened, and it happened, like, a good handful of times where they're like, we're pointing something out right now. I did not care for it. And it was very, what year did this movie come out? 2005?
2004.
Yeah, I mean, not forgivable then or now, but when it happened, I was like, this is jarring. This is like...
So I do not remember this. So while this movie obviously has its flaws, I want to talk about the thing that I want to talk about and the thing that I love, which is Joe, who I want to fuck. Oh. Do we want to get into it?
Yeah, of course. He is, you know, this movie invented feminism. I'm not going to deny that, but the real true feminist of this film is heterosexual cis man Joe. Just takes the cake and just chef's kiss. From movie one to movie two, he really holds up the integrity of these movies.
Of course.
Yeah, if we want to get in, I think this might be even tougher than last time.
I've got a good lineup for our top three.
Okay.
So, because obviously I think the main two are kind of
Chris
Mia
Pine
and
yeah.
Chris Pine, but I don't want to throw Julie Andrews into the mix. So I want to throw us into a situation that Mia's kind of in.
And add Prince Andrew?
Add Prince Andrew, yeah.
Okay. Was there anything about... Was there anything about Prince Andrew that, like, gave you the ick?
Not particularly, I guess. Not that I can, like, put my finger on, but, like, maybe a little bit. Maybe that his name is Andrew.
Because it was supposed to be the whole thing that, like...
no disrespect to any Andrews
named Andrew. I think I've made fun of the name. Like men with J names also like scare me. So that's I think I've said that before on this podcast. Yeah. So no harm to
What was it for you, though?
Oh, but to me, his whole character is that he's, like, perfect on paper, but that between the two of them, there just is no spark or whatever. Like, that's the whole... And he never... I think it would have been too played out if he had some sort of huge flaw that, like, then got revealed and she, like... But it really just was that she was like, yeah, you're nice, I'm just, like, more into this other person than you. Yeah. Like, if it was like, oh, it turns out he, you know... I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, eats really gross or something. I think that would have been, like, too, like, corny and played out. But for me, it was on their first date that they were having a picnic on the beach and he was wearing a tweed jacket. First of all, I know you're like, it's for appearances and it's for the press, so I'm going to let that one slide. He was carrying 2 cameras. He had 2 Nikon straps and he was carrying a camera, like a film camera around his neck and then a digital camera. Sir, I get that. You're on like a publicity date. You don't need 2 cameras.
I get it.
I didn't. That's the moment I was like, ugh.
No, because I will dabble in photography and film photography every now and then.
Yeah.
Hey, sometimes you just can't get the right lighting that you need with a film camera, and so you gotta whip out the digital.
But you carry both with you?
Sometimes.
Openly?
Not openly.
Yeah,
it's in a bag.
Yeah.
In a bag.
Put it in your satchel, Prince Andrew. I know you have a briefcase made of, like, baby cow skin or something. Put it away. So isn't that really expensive? I don't know. But, anyways, fuck, marry, kill.
So I'm assuming you're killing him.
He seems really boring. And we have three hotties. And so the other 2 hotties are not boring. So why would I even bother? And I'm just gonna fuck Chris Pine. I'm gonna marry Mia because Mia's great. And Chris Pine, he's like fine, but I think Mia's bringing more to the table. As far as a life partner. Yeah.
I would marry Mia so that I can get close to
Julie Andrews.
Andrews, yeah. That's my main goal. And then I guess I'll agree with you then. I'll fuck Chris Pine and then kill poor little Prince Andrew. I'll drown him in the sea.
Harsh.
Listen, I mean, you don't even have to drown him. You can just throw him in with those 2 cameras around his neck. It's like putting rocks in your pocket. It's the same fucking thing. So out of the whole movie, though,
so hard.
Can I just join Clarice and Joe's marriage?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I really want.
Sure.
But I will, at the very least, I'm gonna kill Stan Lee, because he just didn't need to be there. I don't want him there. Or should I just kill little Abigail Breslin? No, I'll stick with Stan Lee. He was already on his way out.
That's a pretty good one.
And then I'm gonna fuck Joe, because listen, that threat that he makes to the Viscount in, like, the horse stable, I almost had to excuse myself for, like, a quick, like, 10 minutes, because Jesus.
But he was like, fear is not in my vocabulary, and he's like, but it's in your eyes. That hits.
Like, oh my god.
Also,
Joe.
jump
and
scare?
He slaps the snake on his shoulder, like, you forgot something. Ah! Where's that energy? Bring that energy to the bedroom, Joe. Come on.
Oh, you know Julie Andrews is, the queen.
Bro, I bet she's a freak, dude. And that's what I'm trying to figure out, and that's why I'm gonna marry her.
Of course. For anyone who didn't clock, any of my Lord of the Rings bitches out there who did not clock that the Viscount in this movie is Gimli from Lord of the Rings. He plays, like, if you're familiar with the general cast, Emily, I know you're not a stan.
Fucking clue.
But he's like a dwarf who carries a big axe and has like a huge beard.
Interesting. Okay.
I don't know. I didn't know it until I was looking through the IMDb and I was like, what the fuck? That's Gimli? But anyways,
Gimli?
the evil uncle from Princess Diaries 2 is Gimli from Lord of the Rings. If any of you didn't know, that's a fun bit there. But
hell yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good fuck, marry, kill. I think I still have to fuck Chris Pine.
Really?
I think I'm gonna marry Joe and I'm gonna kill Lily. Because she was just annoying in this movie. She sucked in the first movie, but she also in this movie, I'm just like, you don't need to be here.
Yeah, fully. What are you doing?
Nothing. Just providing referential context from the first movie. Like, no. Of
course. And then food and drink.
So, I said, like,
Pears.
obviously...
Pears,
I think last time we tried to come up with like a pear something.
Did we?
I think a pear cocktail is more in order.
Yeah. Well, there's a honey bourbon pear cocktail that I've found, which sounds pretty delightful. But that's just
I can get with it. I feel like you also need gold flakes as well for some reason.
Yeah.
I feel like that really
Of
plays
course.
into it.
Put a little honey in it.
That checks to me. Mm-hmm. But for my food, I like quintessential sleepover food because this is a quintessential sleepover movie. I might have said this exact same thing on the last Princess Diaries episode, but I stand by it. Just like a bowl of popcorn, like fucking candy, just like movie snacks for a good like girly movie sleepover. That's the vibe. But if you want to elevate it, I feel like fondue. To do like chocolate fondue, like get like, you know, things to dip in chocolate, but also if you want to do like a cheese fondue, I mean, it could be heavy, it could be a lot, but do like a little cheese fondue for the first movie and then a little chocolate fondue for the second movie. That just feels like a fun like sleepover snack to me. So
that's genius. That's
and then
really good. Yeah,
I think either some sort of pear cocktail definitely could work. Anything kind of like light and fruity and bubbly to me can kind of like work for this movie. Like a little like strawberry daiquiri or something. It's just a cute movie, and I don't know. I think it deserves a cute little drink. A Shirley Temple or something. You know.
Ooh, yeah. Food wise, fondue's really good. But I was thinking about, I wanted to go with something smoked because there's a whole big scene of her shooting the flaming arrow through the hoop and everything like that. And there's also a chicken present. She, like, runs after a chicken that she was given. Okay. So, like, a smoked, like, chicken breast or chicken thigh or something like that with, like, a nice, like, honey bourbon pear cocktail.
Okay, that's classy as fuck. I'm going for, like, you know, third grade sleepover. You're going for, like, wedding. Like
the queen will be watching this with me. I want to cook to impress. Yeah.
You're catering the wedding. I'm catering the sleepover.
Hell yeah.
I love it. And then what would you follow this up with?
So it's one of those jumps, like, actors wise. And so Anne Hathaway did Alice in Wonderland. She played, like, the white
queen,
queen or something like that. And so as much as I think that the live action ones are pretty good, I'm going to tell you to watch the original animated one.
Interesting. And I guess it's Disney, you know, you're staying on the same Disney, streaming platform,
And it is fairy tale-ish-esque sort of thing, but I think it's a little more, there's more ups and downs, I feel.
And for me, that would be like a movie I loved when I was, you know, 6 or 7, and then a movie that I loved when I was like 11, 12. You know, I definitely had like the Hot Topic Alice in Wonderland phase.
Oh yeah.
So like aging. Yeah, I can see that. For me, there's only one answer, and I like, you know, as the credits were rolling, I watched this right before we recorded this episode, so I could not follow my dreams, and I just want to watch Ella Enchanted so fucking bad. Oh, it makes me want to watch Ella, because you also have the kind of enemies to lovers, like the tense enemies to lovers, again, which really works in that movie, the amazing acting skills of Miss Anne Hathaway, and all of the singing in this movie made me think about the song and dance number in Ella Enchanted, which is just like so iconic and something from my childhood that like was seared into my brain that I just fucking adored. So like I have the overwhelming desire to go watch Ella Enchanted like right fucking after we end this, and like
Nice.
not to say that I
You
will,
should.
but like I might. Yeah, like I might.
You should.
Treat
Yeah, no,
myself.
I don't remember that one very much, honestly. That one is not one that's stuck in my brain.
It's a goodie.
But, and what would you rate this movie? I'm gonna give it a 7.
I'm also gonna give it like a 7.5, like a 7.5, because it did invent feminism. This movie invented women's rights, and Princess Mia, Queen Mia of Genovia said, "Women deserve rights, and I'm here to put my foot in the sand about it." And as a young child, I think that was really important for me to see. Even though the only thing I remember about this was the yelling bodyguard, who I just thought was a hoot and a holler.
What a romp.
But this is one of, like, I wouldn't say this is better than the first one per se, but I would say it is just on par with it, and it gives me some different, it's equally as good, but like for some, varied reasons.
Yeah.
And I think we rarely get sequels that are even, comparable to their origin counterparts. So I think this movie really did something. I think it's because the first movie was not written by her, but this was written by Shonda Rhimes, who...
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, which is like, that really checks out. Like the overusage of tropes in a way that is just like good. Like, it's like, oh, you're doing the most obvious thing, but it's brilliant. Oh, Miss Shonda, you get it every time. But yeah, like a 7.5 for me.
Sweet.
And that is the Princess Diaries too. I'm really glad that we did this one, because rewatching it was a nice little like comfort movie, nice moment of something I hadn't seen in a while. So that was really cute. And stay tuned, because we're doing all bangers this month, all sequel bangers, no bad sequels, obviously. So stick around for Sequel September, and we're doing we're gonna try to do a visual YouTube component thing. So the link in the description to go subscribe to that if you're interested in looking at our faces while we talk. Don't say anything mean, though. I'm sweaty. I'm like sweaty and sitting in front of my dryer. So it's like not the most elegant or coordinated thing, but we're trying.
I've
and
got
then
the
also
worst lighting you could possibly have. So.
But your background's like kind of cute, though. But if you want to see, Emily is bald now. Emily's rocking a badass bald woman in charge look. So go check out...
You can... Here.
ASMR.
ASMR, me rubbing my little
Fuzz.
buzz cut into the mic.
I love it. So if that's incentive to go check that out, go subscribe. But also, also links to everything else. Sign into our DMs with any suggestions for future themes, future movies, future chocolate or vanilla ideas, any of it. We love to hear from all of you. And as always, we love you. And goodbye and good night.